everyone, welcome back to my channel, The Purple Belt Diaries, where we focus on grappling sports and sometimes on my life in them. So, unless you've been living under a rock, at the bottom of the sea, in a cave, on a distant planet, with your hands covering your ears and your eyes squeezed shut, you have heard about the latest Olympic controversy. Not that one. In boxing. And if you've paid attention to previous Olympics, you will also know that they are not free of somewhat similar controversies. My intent for this video is not to debate the fairness or unfairness of these Olympic decisions or to discuss any sort of politics around them. What I would like to do in this video is discuss testosterone in the context of athleticism and what it means for both men and women, as well as touch on some important biological differences between men and women aside from testosterone levels that can contribute to differences in athletic performance and in the context of grappling sports, of course. And although throughout this video I will be speaking in generalities about SMEX differences, each person also has their own individual needs and abilities, and that should be also considered. But that's a little bit outside the scope of the current discussion, so we're just going to be addressing the generalities. So let's get into it, starting with the big T.
But I pity the fool.
Why is testosterone important? Testosterone is a key androgen hormone that plays a significant role in athletic performance for both men and women. I'll be linking the studies and information sources below so that you can check them out yourself. And elevated levels of which can contribute to a number of physiological and metabolic advantages. Testosterone promotes protein synthesis, which leads to an increase in muscle mass and strength. And higher levels of testosterone enhance muscle fiber size and number, contributing to greater overall muscle strength. This is one of the primary reasons why men who typically have higher levels of testosterone generally possess greater muscle mass and strength when compared to women. It is also crucial for bone health, promoting bone density and strength. This reduces the risk of fractures and is essential for high-impact sports and activities that place significant stress on the skeletal system. In addition, testosterone stimulates the production of erythropoietin, which in turn increases red blood cell production. This enhances oxygen carrying capacity of the blood, improving endurance and recovery times during prolonged physical activities. And of course, testosterone influences fat distribution and helps in reducing body fat percentage. It promotes a more favorable lean muscle to fat ratio, which is also advantageous for athletic performance. Testosterone's role in fat metabolism means athletes can maintain lower body fat percentages, enhancing agility and speed. Higher levels are also associated with faster recovery times and improved healing processes. Testosterone aids in muscle repair after intense exercise, reducing downtime, allowing athletes to train more frequently and intensely. And in addition to all this, it can influence behavior, motivation, and competitiveness, with higher levels being linked to increased aggression and competitive drive, both of which are beneficial in competitive sports environments. While the effects of testosterone are well documented in men, women also benefit from optimal levels for their systems of this hormone. However, the implications of testosterone supplementation or naturally high levels in women are complex and controversial, particularly in the context of fairness in women's sports. Women with high testosterone levels, whether naturally occurring or due to conditions like polycystic ovarian syndrome, may experience similar advantages in muscle mass, strength, and endurance as men, although to a much lesser degree due to generally lower baseline levels. So men have higher baseline testosterone levels, and higher testosterone levels can have favorable effects on athletic performance. That definitely doesn't mean all men are better at athletics than women. In addition, that's not the only biological difference between the schmexes that can contribute to differences in athletic performance. Biological and physiological differences between adult human males and females encompass various aspects, including body composition, fat versus muscle distribution, and in skeletal structure. Understanding these differences is essential in fields such as medicine, sports, science, nutrition. In medicine in particular, it is important to understand how men and women might respond very differently to the same treatments. In terms of body composition, adult males have a higher percentage of muscle mass and a lower percentage of body fat compared to adult females. This difference is largely due to hormonal variations, particularly in the higher levels of testosterone in males, which promote muscle growth and give them a higher basal metabolic rate. On average, males have about 40 to 50% muscle mass, while females have about 30 to 40% mass. Conversely, females generally have a higher percentage of body fat, which is essential for reproductive functions and hormonal balance. Healthy body fat percentages in men are typically between 8 to 20%, whereas for women it ranges between 20 and 30%. And the distribution of fat also differs between men and women. Females tend to store more subcutaneous fat, particularly in the hips, thighs, and butt, which is associated with reproductive health and the hormone estrogen. In contrast, men are more likely to accumulate visceral fat. That's right, your dad bod, around the abdominal area, which is linked to higher risk of metabolic disease. This pattern of fat distribution is influenced by both genetic and hormonal factors. Athletic levels of body composition also vary by schmex. Elite male athletes often have body fat percentages ranging from 6 to 13%, whereas elite female athletes typically range from 14 to 20%. These ranges can vary depending on the sport and the position within the sport, but the general trend reflects the physiological differences in fat and muscle mass between men and women. Skeletal structure also exhibits notable differences between males and females. Males generally have larger, denser bones, which is partly a result of higher testosterone levels and greater mechanical loading from muscle mass. This leads to differences in skeletal proportions, such as broader shoulders and narrower hips in males. Females, on the other hand, tend to have wider pelvises to facilitate childbirth, and additionally, the angle between the quadricep muscles and the patella tendon is larger in females, which can influence knee joint mechanics and injury risk. So what does this mean for grappling sports specifically? In grappling sports such as Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, wrestling, judo, the biological differences between men and women significantly influence their respective strengths and weaknesses. These differences manifest in various ways, impacting performance, strategy, and training approaches. And of course, these are just generalities. Everyone is different and people will have their own individual strengths and weaknesses as well. Because men typically have greater muscle mass and overall strength due to higher levels of testosterone, this provides a notable advantage in terms of raw power, which is crucial in executing throws, holds, and submissions. Additionally, men possess a higher bone density, contributing to greater structural integrity, beneficial for withstanding the physical stresses of grappling. Another advantage for men is their proportionality of the greater upper body strength, which aids in grips, clinches, and upper body takedowns. However, men often have less flexibility compared to women, a crucial factor in grappling for escaping holds and performing certain techniques. The larger muscle mass in men can also lead to quicker fatigue due to the high oxygen and energy demands of bigger muscles. Furthermore, the larger muscle mass can impact agility and speed, which is essential for quick transitions and escapes in grappling. So blame your massive biceps for slowing you down. At least we know that I'm kind of fast. Not really. Women, on the other hand, generally possess greater flexibility, which aids in performing complex grappling maneuvers, escaping from difficult positions, and reducing the risk of injuries. Women also tend to have a higher percentage of slow twitch muscle fibers, making them more resistant to fatigue, which is an advantage in longer matches where endurance becomes crucial. Given the physical size differences, women tend to emphasize strategy and technique over strength, leading to a more refined and efficient grappling style. However, women generally tend to have less muscle mass and strength compared to men, which can be a disadvantage in some power-based moves and in resisting forceful techniques. Lower bone density in women also can tend to make us more susceptible to fractures and injuries in high impact scenarios. We also generally have less upper body strength, which can be a disadvantage in techniques that rely heavily on arm and shoulder power. In grappling sports, these biological differences necessitate different approaches and adaptations. In mixed gender training, these differences can be beneficial for both schmexes. Men rolling with women can learn to refine their techniques and not rely solely on strength, while women can develop ways to counteract the strength disparities through strategic application of their skills and techniques. Understanding these biological differences allows athletes and coaches to tailor training programs that maximize strengths and address weaknesses. And having a holistic approach that considers these differences ensures that both men and women can perform at their best in grappling sports, leveraging their unique physical attributes to gain a competitive advantage. One of the reasons that I am such a big supporter of women's classes being led by women is so that female lower belts can learn from others who have the same strengths and struggles as themselves, as well as how to maximize and take full advantage of how their body works for martial arts techniques. Some techniques can be modified, could be more effective for women or more effective for fighting women when differences in skeletal structure and body composition are taken into account. There's always someone out there that asks me, well, what about men's classes? To which I say most martial arts classes are men's classes. And what I mean by that is that there are many schools that have few, if any, women frequently attending. To isolate and exclude the one woman that actually shows up in these places is a little weird to me. But if you have a large group of both, I honestly don't see why not. If you want to have some extra sweaty male bonding time, go for it. In conclusion, these biological and physiological differences have implications not just for athletic performance, but also health and general fitness. Recognizing these differences is important when considering not just Olympic sports and competitions, also training recommendations for men and women in grappling sports so that they can optimize their physical potential while considering their unique biological characteristics. In addition to this, the individual person should not be forgotten. Regardless of gender, we are all very unique individuals with individual needs, individual talents, individual skills, and individual weaknesses. And we need to train to that as well. So now I would love to hear from you. What do you feel that some of your best strengths or skills are that help you in grappling or other martial arts or combat sports? How do you feel it influences your style or overall game? Drop a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok or support my coffee habit on Patreon at the Purple Belt Diaries. I also just again want to give a big shout out and thank you to my first Patreon supporter, James. Really appreciate the coffee. It allowed me to make this video. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like, that subscribe, and maybe check out some of my other content as well. Also, if you're looking for some new gear, please check out some of the affiliate links below and use code Desiree Lussier at checkout for a 10% discount store-wide. See you next time!